Welcome to Mr. Pow's semi-off-meta One Piece tournament. We have gathered 4 lucky contestants who all have their eye on a big prize. How this single elimination tournament works is players will battle out to get to the top, and if you make it to the top, you'll be faced with a tough decision. Take home a sealed box of OP09, or take on the big boss Mr. Pow to upgrade to a box of Premium Booster 1. One of the most iconic reprint sets that will ever be released for the One Piece card game. Let's begin this round of the tournament, and good luck to all of the contestants. We are in round 2 of the Mr. Pow tournament, as you just saw in the intro, and we're taking Belo Betty. Whoa, did I just flip my camera around? How did I do that? What? Crazy. We're going on Belo Betty right here. You know Belo Betty is a very iconic deck on the channel because I've been playing it for a little too long. You've seen videos on it way back when that they're so old I don't even have the pictures anymore to show you on the screen. Belo Betty being an amazing leader that says activate main once per turn, trash 1 Revo Army type character from your hand or card from your hand, up to 3 of your Revo Army type characters or characters with trigger gain plus 3,000 power. This deck list primarily plays in the Revo Army. I think there's actually no cards that are not Revo Army here. Keeping the stage for consistency is very interesting. I never personally played the stage, but I did do a deck list on the channel that did. I never played it at locals, I should say, because I'll play anything for you guys. Here we have 2 of the Raise Max to give -3 to a character. This card is kind of difficult in my opinion to pull off because usually you just want to go straight to face, but there are points where you can't. Again, there's so many amazing cards in this deck. You look to my right. See, we have to check every single time. We got to do the 2 fingers up, figure out which direction's which. Karasu right here. Karasu giving minus to my whole frick setup. Holy cow, he gave minus to everything. Like a leader, he can give minus 1,000 power to a leader, which is really amazing to put on aggression, and you can cheat it out with his Emporio and Ivankov. Karasu can obviously also target characters, but when paired with Ivankov, you usually go for a leader because that is so much aggression. Even your 5k leader is now forcing out a 2k, and it's forcing me to die slowly. In here, you play 2 of the Dragon, an amazing rush option in any red deck, and a little too pricey for my opinion of being just an SR that is about $10. I mean, I see why. It's an amazing card. I'm just glad I got my playset. This 5 cost Ivankov I think is very important into the deck, and I think having 3 of is very interesting. Maybe that is why we play the stage over here below me, because the stage can definitely help. With this Ivankov, it plays a 4 cost or little Revo Army type character from the top of your deck, from the top 3 cards. So there's only, what, 5 cards in here that whiff on it? No. You have 2 Koalas, 1 Sabo, 2 Dragons, that's 5. You have 2 of the other Ivankovs because you'd already have played 1, so that would make us at 7, and then you have the 3 stage. So that puts us 10 cards total whiff, meaning that 4 out of 5 cards in your deck will hit for this. And so I think you're pretty safe to play this and feel like you're not going to whiff. So that's probably why we're going really hard into the Revo Army type. Inazuma is a good rush option. Koala is an amazing 2k. I think this deck is very good, and I think it's well suited for the format. I mean, just when you have a smaller card pool or deck list, you're not playing meta lists that have 5 life, which is most of the lists we had in the banned side of things. I think this deck, I think I need to figure out how to stop messing up my whole screen. I think this deck is going to do really good in the format, so we'll just have to see how it goes, guys. Let's check out the Katakuri list, and then we'll get into the game. And here we have the Katakuri list. This one's going to be fun. This is actually crazy that I'm going to tell you guys this now. One of the people from my locals actually got into this tournament, which is Courtney. Thank you so much for joining, and you guys should join the Discord just like she did, because you can play in the next tournament, which would be a lot of fun. So we are starting with Katakuri. Most people know what this deck does. It is a yellow leader. Most people like yellow. Yellow is just way too hype. It's a really good color, but for me, it's a little too much of just luck, and I don't have that, so I don't play it. This leader saying times when dawn when attacking, look at the top 1 card of yours or your opponent's life, place it at the top or bottom of their life cards, and then this leader gains plus 1,000 power. The main pairing with this card from the life is going to be this 0 cost event. This 0 cost event to my left right here, well, left there, is going to be a very strong card in the format, making it where you just if it's the last life card in your life, discard 1 card from your hand, gain 1 life, meaning that you can just win the game by not losing it. And so this deck does have a little more skill than something like a Nell that will randomly trigger it. This one you can actually set up. And if you don't set it up and you get it, you're just lucky. So we'll see if that happens today. You can also pair it obviously with a Capone Beji. Beji just meaning it has a trigger that says one of your opponent's characters cannot attack, which can sometimes win you games. You have Sanji blocker, just getting a blocker on the board can sometimes just win you games. Getting an extra body like this Frankie here that also allows you to draw 1 card can just win you games. This Sparrow trigger gets you another body on the field, which wins you games. There are so so many pieces here that can just win you games. They even play the 2-cost Nami, which has Banish, which I don't think the Banish is the main reason people play this in Katakuri. The trigger saying KO a 5-cost or lower character, literally just getting you so much tempo. And it doesn't cost something like this Nami right here. This Nami to my right is an on play, discard 1 card from your hand, and then 1 card with trigger specifically from your hand, KO a 5-cost or lower, and then draw 1 card if you have 3 or less cards in hand. Being very specific to fill up your resources and a little too much cost to work for the trigger, because the trigger just says activate this character's main effect. And so the Nami just gets that trigger for free, or the Onami I should say, which is kind of really good. So we'll see how that does today with all of the triggers. You're usually playing Flampe's right here, which take a life and draw a card. I don't think it's played as much in Flampe's played as much in Katakuri as it is in something like a Nell, but it's definitely a really good piece if you need to take life. In this matchup against Belo though, I wouldn't recommend it. We obviously have Parasparrow, 10-drop Big Mom, 10-drop Big Mom being the whole reason you play this deck, trashing one of your opponent's life, and then you gain a life all in 1 turn while developing a 10-drop 12k on the board is kind of crazy. Obviously you have 8-drop Katakuri, and we've gone over everything else, Kikinojo just being a trigger out of life, and then 7-drop Big Mom, basically doing Big Mom's effect, but your opponent chooses 1. So either your opponent trashes a life or gives you a life, but you don't get both. Meaning, this card is just the whole reason we're playing the deck, is the 10-drop Big Mom right here. This is one I'm super excited to see because I think it's 2 yellow decks paired against each other, and we don't know how either one's going to trigger out, because if Belo hits all their triggers, they're good. If Katakuri hits all their triggers, they're good. If nobody hits their triggers, we're in for a good one. Guys, let's get to the game right here, and I just can't wait. I just can't wait. Let's see how they do. Now we've got Belo versus Katakuri here. This is going to be a very interesting matchup for sure. We'll have to see how this goes. The Katakuri gets to choose. They won the dice roll, basically, and they take first. They get into the Parasparrow on curve and the Luffy or Nami on curve. I think that's a good keeper hand. You have 2 signs of removal there. I think a mulligan would be bad, but if we sit here and jump over to our other player's hand, let's see what they're starting with. So we're starting with the stage, Belo Betty. I think this is pretty good. Yeah, you're good to go. Yeah, you're good. You're good. I figured out how to do it quicker. You're good to play. I don't want to be a distraction for you. That is very nice, especially in this matchup. All right, so we saw the stage off the top. We saw the Belo. He was explaining his thought process there with the 5-cost Ivanka being very important for the Belo deck, which I 100% agree with. That is a great take right there. Now, the stage he was very adamant on, and me personally, I never have, but maybe I'll learn something new from our friend over here. So, Micah, you might teach me something cool. We'll have to see, though, in the end. They do counter out of the 5k, meaning that there is a Parasparrow coming down for our Katakuri player, because they did counter out aggressively, I might add, and I don't know that I would do that, but we'll have to see. We jump over back here to the Belo. 3 might be a little much. Good, nice. So he cannot hear me, but he's going to be sitting here talking. I think that you'd be a little surprised, but he cannot hear me. He's going for the buff, getting the Karasu, and then should swing the Belo first. That's correct. Yep, 100% correct. And then 5 in a face. And I think our Katakuri here should be starving him out. I think that's smart, just to keep the aggro on. So we'll have to see what our Katakuri does for the follow-up here. We are not at 2 life, so the Luffy effect is not active. You do not have 5 cards in hand to be playing the Nami to discard 1 to draw. So we're going for clearing board here, it looks like, and I think I would be starving my opponent at this point. Just taking all their resources, especially at this point of the game, not even swinging with the Parasparrow. I think this is a very good play. I think you get rid of the 0-cost event. I don't think you get rid of Luffy. Yep, because they, I don't think so. Because this is an aggro deck. If you're not swinging, they're swinging you. And I think you can clear up the board. But that's just my personal opinion. I'm not, the one playing here. So we'll have to see if they get a trigger out of life here for the Belo. And it looks like no trigger. So we'll move on back over here to Micah. All right, let's see what you got, buddy. We do have the 5-cost Ivankov, which is going to be very good in this situation. I think that's going to help us at least fill out the board, but then we won't have our Karasu effect. We have to nullify our Karasu effect at this point. I think we need to go for a board. That is true. So something I don't think he realizes is that you could just play down the 4-cost and then put 2 Dawn on the Ivankov 4-cost and then go from there, to develop that extra body. But there's nothing to cheat out at this point. He goes for the Inazuma. I think I would have gone for the Koala, personally, because at this point, you could use it this turn. Really spam out the board. That is a really bad pool. But you could play out the Koala here, give minus 3,000 power to the Parasparrow, and then swing into the Parasparrow, leaving your Crossoos active, so you can continue going on with the game. We'll have to see what you decide here. What you got for us, Micah. I'm excited to see the take. I think this is going to be a very fun finals either way once we get into this next round. We're going for blockers instead. Interesting. Searcher Betty looking at the top of the deck. That is a lot better. So at least getting the blocker on the board is good. But that is non-counter. Yep, so it's up to him to decide. He said that's non-counter. Perfect. And then we move back to the other player. Well, no, we get to swing. Can't ignore a swing here. So definitely have that on the board. So he's going 5 into face here, which is what he decided to go into face, and they get 1 card out of hand, which I think was the goal. He's got a tough decision to make here, but would she let it go? That's the question here, Micah. I like this take. I think that was correct. Yep. There you go. You got exactly what you wanted. And they grabbed the 7 Lin, and he said, that is true. This is a fun matchup, guys. It's cool to hear their thoughts. No, I did not. What were your options? You got lucky. 1 option. So in case you can't hear what she said, I only had 3 choices. Kikunojo, Beji, or Linlin. And I could only grab Linlin, so I was very lucky if you want to call it that. So 5 into the Karasu. I think you let the Karasu go at this point of the game. I don't think it's worth countering because you're already low on hand size. You didn't take the Koala. You know you're dropping Dragon. So at this point of the game, I think it's safe. Ooh, to counter is wild. That's very interesting. That was a very interesting take. Now you give up the blocker at this point, because if you give up anything else, I think that puts you in a bad spot. This is a very aggressive deck list we're going against. So I don't know if that take was correct. I think you do block out here. If you're going to really save this Karasu, you should not give your hand. You should give the blocker, because you still have 3 bodies on the board. The Karasu being a 7k, that does give minus 1,000 to the leader. Yep, exactly. So we block out, and then we are going to play 7 Mom and get a life anyway. So we will be our opponent's going to lose a life. I'm assuming the Belo Betty takes the life into trash, but you don't really know. I think with the aggression, you could go either way. Right now, our Katakuri player is in the front runner seat, I think. I think it was just a few. I think not taking that first life really puts you behind with your leader effect, having to ditch a card every turn. But who's to say? There's always a turning point in the game, whether it's early or late. It's just, what do you see? They do exactly as we said, and then it looks like we are going to switch back over to Micah's position here. Nothing left to play, and we go to Micah. Do you feel good about taking the life, or would it have been better to do the other way? What do you think? So I'll give you a little Mr. Pow voiceover here. He's basically saying, I know I can get rid of this Nami on the field, so I know they won't have lethal with my 2 life. If they drop a 10 Lin, I can counter out of the 5, and I'll still be safe. So that's basically what he's saying, just to give you a rundown of what I've got going on in my ears, so that you're not just listening to nothing. I can at least explain it to you and fill in this time. Smart, smart. I think that's a really good play. I like that. I like that. I think you go for something to get... No, you can't grab the brick. Yep. And now he's basically explaining like what's going on in his hand and stuff. Don't just know that I'm not telling him what to do. I'm just listening to what he's saying. So we are going for the trash. Yep, that's smart to keep that alive. You should swing Nami, give minus 1k to the leader. Smart, smart. Okay, this is the right way to do it. I like how he's cooking up. Yeah. Yeah, he's got the closer ready. He said he's got the Inazuma. I like that play. I like that a lot. He's cooking up with this Belo Betty list. This is a lot more control than I expected. Wow, this is really popping off. So, a 0-cost trigger. A trigger right here could be brutal. Another 7 Lin is bad, they said. Because then they can go 8 and 9. Oh, he doesn't realize. Oh my goodness. He doesn't realize the 7 Lin is horrible for him. Oh my gosh. Well, I mean, you don't lose because you just don't give them life, or you have to give them a life. They are running a lot of KO trigger there. It does save Dragon, but what else does it do for you? And that's where I'm at. Now he's talking about deciding whether or not he's going to swing with this Dragon, because putting it sideways basically means it's guaranteed to die if our opponent's not going for lethal. So do you want to lose this big body or not? I need you to comment down below if you think he should swing this character. Here I go. I can't tell him that, but there's a chance they run Rygo. Which one do you do, my friend? No worries, take your time. I think swinging's the best option. I think you have to take that chance. You still have the rush option. So you still have 3 swings, and you have the Inazuma. I think you're safe to swing here, because you're only losing... I think you're just overthinking it here. I don't even remember what was in the other guy's hand. I don't remember what's in Courtney's hand. That is 3 swings. That would finish off the game. But then you're playing that they don't have triggers next turn. So either you play it this turn or you play it next turn. Yep. I 100% agree. He says, even if it's Beige though, then I'm just in trouble. So, but you do know they left the life at the top, meaning that it is not Beige. So we know this trigger is not Beige, because if they swing the 9, you know it's not Beige now. You don't know what the bottom one is, and I don't believe we know what the bottom one is or if they moved it. So let me explain. Basically, they hit a Brule trigger on the last swing. So whenever we swung the Ivankov, we did see a trigger with the Brule 2k counter that left the life at the top of their life, meaning that it would not be a trigger because you have a 9k swing coming in. You would not waste a Veggie trigger on a 9k swing when you can't stop any other attacks. So basically, that's explaining my thought process here and why you should probably swing and not worry about being a veg. So we just pass a turn and choose not to swing. That could be the turning point. We'll have to check in on the hand. Whew, that was a lot of pressure there for our friend Mike. Cortland is now on the draw, on the play. We're at 9 Dawn, so we can't fully even go in. We could just go for a banish, really trying to stay active here. So what I would do is go I think you overthought. I think you did too much. I think I would have gone banish life with that, and then, oh yeah. So I would have gone banish life. With the Katakuri, swing in, force either the card out of hand, and then clear up the board maybe? I don't know. We do see the 7 that he said he did not want to see, but he knows he does not die. So it's either you win this turn or you lose, and they only have 3 up to 4 swings. We'll have to see how this goes. It's all back to Micah. Micah, this is scary. We have an... Basically, he's explaining that she should have played the Charlotte Lindland first, because then it would have put on the pressure where they have to give the opponent a life, rather than at that point they knew they would not die because their opponent already went for clearing the board. 100%. Yep. It does not. You just discard it for play on Inazuma, leader effect. It's all in this turn. You win or you lose. 7, 5, 12, and 5 with 7 Dawn. This is a very aggressive swing. Now Mike is basically just doing the math of what are the proper swings, because they still have 5 cards to life, and every single one of these almost have to hit, especially if there is some kind of trigger at their life, because they do just lose the game if you hit one of those 5 cards in hand still to life. Yep, I agree. It's best to at least get a little info and a couple cards out. It doesn't matter right now if you invest, but now is the good time. You know the top one's not Beige. We know it's not Beige because they left it on top with only 1 swing, guaranteeing it's not Beige, because you would save that for your last life, moving it to the bottom. But we did see that in the last turn, when they did check their life with a Brule 2k counter, that they left it at the top with the Dragon Swing open. So we have to see 8, 9, 12, he says. 8, 9, 12. Dang. Yeah, that's what you gotta do. You gotta leave this character active and just hope. Oh, you can swing in. Yeah. I mean, honestly, yeah, you can swing in. Hope it's not a trigger. Hope it's a Karasu. Fingers crossed Karasu. Let's go. Oh, it didn't matter in the end. We dropped the 10 drop on them and just call it game. My goodness. That was a crazy top deck. The 10 drop top deck. How does that feel? Yeah. As you saw, that matchup with Katakuri and Belo went a little more wild than I thought, both not having too many crazy triggers, and it coming down to the last straw. I mean, at the end of the day, it was such a close match, being a super aggro match into a life burn aggro kind of strategy based off triggers on both sides. I mean, that was just a fun one to watch. And if you want to watch more of these, I mean, we'll be having Katakuri tomorrow, and we'll have another whole deck list tomorrow for the second round of the tournament as we move, or I guess third round of the tournament, as that was round 2, into the finals or semifinals if they choose to take me on in the end, which, let's just say, it's going to be fun. As always, like, comment, and subscribe. If you want to join the Discord, join down below, as it's in the description, for the next tournament, which will be announced someday. Someday being, I don't know when, but hopefully very soon, and hopefully we can do it on a larger scale, because it's still something I'm learning, and maybe you can bounce some ideas in the comments on how to become better at it. Obviously, for the last round, I do have their Discord audio. In the beginning, I did not, so just take that into account that I did at least figure that out on my own. So your own ideas, though, let me know them down below in the comments, and I will see you in the next one tomorrow for round 3. 3.
Katakuri versus Reiju, baby. That's gonna be fun.